greetings, NAACP members, and welcome to tonight's call. I would like to encourage and thank everyone for taking time out from their schedules to be with us tonight. Hopefully you've received the agenda via email, and to get things started immediately, we would like to go ahead and have our opening prayer with Pastor Landrum, if you would lead us in a short word of prayer.
Most gracious and wonderful Almighty God, we come to you right now just to say thank you. Thank you for these willing hearts, these willing souls who have come together to do the work of this community. Guide our thoughts, guide our hearts, guide our minds, dear God, so that all we do will be to bring glory to your name. We pray this precious prayer in the name of your darling Son, Jesus the Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Landrum. At this time, we'd ask for everyone, if you can, to show your, to turn your camera on so that we'll be able to get a view of who our audience is. I know we've got quite a few students in the audience. We'd like to get a feel for how many middle school students. If you're a middle school student, can you raise your hand and wave? If you're a high school student, can you do the same? And you're a college student. We've got some college students here as well. Go ahead and wave your hand so we'll get a feel. It looks like we have a mixture of everyone here, a combination. So without any further ado, I'd like to go ahead and introduce our guest speaker. We're honored tonight to have her as our guest speaker. Justice Colvin was appointed to the United States Supreme Court on, the Georgia State Supreme Court on July 20th, 21 by Governor Brian Kemp. She's the first African-American female appointed by a Republican governor to the state's high court. Previously, she has served on the Court of Appeals. Her time as a judge also includes nearly 6 years as a Superior Court judge on the Macon Judicial Circuit. During that time, she also served on the Council for Accountability for Judges. Justice Colvin has served as a Clayton County Assistant District Attorney. She's also served as a United States Attorney in the Middle District of Georgia. Justice Colvin is a member of several organizations and boards, too numerous to mention all at the same time, but I would like to point out the American Bar Association, the Georgia Association of Black Women Attorneys, and the Georgia Association for Women Lawyers, just to name a few. Justice Colvin has received numerous awards, including the NAACP President's Award and the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Pearls of Science Award. Justice Colvin is an adjunct professor at Mercer School of Law and a member of First Baptist Church, where she serves as a children's Sunday school teacher and on the women's ministry leadership team. She is also a proud mother and a wife. NAACP members and friends, I present to you at this time our guest speaker for tonight, Georgia Supreme Court Justice Verda M. Colvin.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. It's a pleasure to be with you all this evening, particularly the young people who are online. When I saw your faces and saw the names and saw all the participation, I thought to myself, is this the right discussion for this group of young people? But I am going to do what I've been tasked to do. And I understand the topic is consequences of decisions young people make. So as I said, I'm glad to be with you all this evening to share a few words of wisdom as you journey along this path as young adults, teens, and middle school students. Let me start off by telling each of you young people who are represented today that I respect you. I fully recognize that this journey in this crazy world that we live in is a bit much, and it is not easy. I also acknowledge the struggles that you all experience in school, with friends and associates, teachers and coaches, and the pressure of just getting it right. I promised myself one thing when I was growing up, that I would never forget what it felt like to be a child, what it felt like to be a teenager growing up. Because many times I felt like adults didn't really respect what kids were going through, what teenagers were feeling. And so many times they discounted what they felt. And so I always promised myself that I would never forget that. And perhaps that's why I've been somewhat effective with talking with young people as I did during my 6 years on the Superior Court bench. I think that's how your leaders at the NAACP came to know about me and my conversations with young people. So I want you to know that I get it, that I'm real. And so let's talk. It's going to be real talk. So each of you are unique and you're experiencing things that may be different from any other person on this call tonight. But I want to remind you of one thing. There are consequences for every decision you make, good or bad. I want to share a few things with you to remember as you journey through these teen years and your early young adult years. Number one, your playground and your playmates will directly affect your success or failure. Let me say that again. Your playground or your playmates will directly affect your success or failure. Be careful about who you call friend. I want you to remember this. If you don't remember anything else I say tonight, remember this quote. Everyone in your circle is not in your corner. Let me say that again. Everyone in your circle is not in your corner. If you have people in your circle who are on the edge of getting in trouble, guys or girls who try to persuade you to do things or engage in conduct that you would be uncomfortable doing in front of your mom, your dad, your granddad, or your favorite aunt and uncle, that person is probably not the best person to have in your circle because they're not in your corner. This is more important than you realize. And I'm going to give you a scenario because I know real life events mean more to you all. When I was an assistant district attorney in Clayton County, Georgia, I once prosecuted an armed robbery case. Two young men were best friends. One was very troubled. He was struggling in school and struggling in life. He wasn't really listening to his mom during that time. But his best friend, since he was a little boy growing up, was this young man who was captain of the football team. Very well liked, very engaged in school. And so he knew his friend was struggling. So even though he was struggling and they were beginning to go on different paths, he still wanted to be there for him. So this particular day, he went to his house to pick him up so they could just hang out and so he could bring something positive to this young man's life. So the guy says to him, take me to McDonald's. He says, okay, this is his friend he's been knowing since they were little kids. So they go to McDonald's. They enter the McDonald's. Inside the McDonald's, unbeknownst to the football player, his friend takes out a gun. He then begins to rob the McDonald's. The young lady who's standing behind the counter is scared to death. He puts the gun on her. And the football player, seeing his friend is out of control, he thinks about saving this little girl's life. So he says to him, man, don't do that. You're scaring her. Please don't do that. You can put her in the back or something, but please don't shoot her. Please, just let her be. And so the friend he's thinking back and forth about what he's going to do, but ultimately he listens to him and he puts her back in the back office. He then comes back out, takes money from the register. The football player friend is trying to ease out because this is something he wasn't aware that was happening. His friend then puts the gun on him and says, you're not going anywhere, you're taking me home. So then the football player friend does as he's told because his friend has this gun. He's acting in a way that he never contemplated that he would ever get to, even though he's depressed. He takes him back home. Later on, of course, as it always happens, the police come and they begin to do an investigation. They find out that both of them were involved. They then arrest them both. The football player friend comes in my court. He, for the first time I met him, dressed very immaculately, very appropriate. His mom is an RN nurse. His dad his stepfather owns his own business. He has an older brother. Not only does he come, but coaches come with him. Teachers come with him. I think at least one of the representatives from one of the colleges they're betting him to go to on a football scholarship, he comes. The friend who is very desolate, very depressed, he comes with his mom. He looks like he doesn't care, still has that I don't care disposition. I then began to tell the judge about the facts of the case in a way to make it look the best I can for the football player, because I too believe he was just at the wrong place at the wrong time. His attorney and I are on the same page. I try to convince the other young man to not bring his friend in this, to let him go have the life that he has been planning for, that he has been working toward. He's so angry at the world, he refuses to do that. Despite his counsel talking to him, who I knew very well, a very known attorney in Atlanta, and he tries to talk to him, he won't hear it. He's like, I'm going down, he's going down too. But this is the thing that was really the kicker. The young lady who was put in the back room, her father came. He wanted to speak to the judge, and I allowed him to do so. And he told that judge in no uncertain terms, I think God meant for this young man to be with this other young man that day. I believe, based upon everything my daughter told me, that if this young man had not been with him at that McDonald's, he would have killed my daughter. She believes that from her bottom of the core. His daughter is standing there crying at the time because she's reliving this. And he says, I'm asking you, Judge, to not charge this young man with this offense. The prosecutor wants to dismiss against him, and I'm asking you to do that because I think he saved my daughter's life. She refused. She gave him 10 years to serve. That's the mandatory minimum for armed robbery. He was 17. Georgia is one of the 3 states that still considers 17-year-olds adults. As he was escorted to the back of the courtroom, I just left the courtroom while the judge was still talking because I was so upset. And I walked back there, and his name is Brandon. And I said, Brandon, this is not over. Whatever you all want to do on appeal, I will do whatever it takes, affidavit or otherwise, to support your effort to appeal this conviction. And I went downstairs afterwards and talked to the DA and told him this was not right. I can't stand for it. So I'll have to resign if I need to, but I have to stand up for what's right. And he, being the upstanding district attorney he was, he said, you know, Verda, do what you feel like you need to do. And so ultimately, after spending 5 years in prison, he was released. But you have to be careful because everyone in your circle is not in your corner. And so I want to say to you all, in addition to that, you know, that was armed robbery, but there are other penalties that you face when you allow people to be in your circle who are not in your corner. In my 28 years of experience in prosecution, state and federal, and I know this from some experts, drugs is also a problem sometimes with young people. Understand me clearly. Marijuana is illegal in the state of Georgia. There are some places in Georgia that have marijuana as an ordinance violation if it's small quantities, but that's not throughout the state of Georgia. So depending on where you are, you can be prosecuted for possession of drugs, even marijuana. So I want to say that to you all. And I want to say this too, and some medical experts agree with me, and one defense counsel who worked in my courtroom agreed wholeheartedly. Marijuana is a gateway drug. And I will say somehow I was muted, I'm sorry. But it's just like a bag of chips. If you eat one, you can't stop. And that's what happens with drugs. And so typically people who I've seen in the court system, they go from marijuana to other drugs. And so what I'm saying to you all today is don't go there. Even vaping is illegal for people who are underage. I'll say that again. Vaping is illegal if you're under the age of 18. You cannot do that. If you're not an adult, you can't vape. And so I want you all to remember that. And be mindful that any illegal act in life is an illegal act on social media. So think about it like this. Everything that you put on social media is like a template for law enforcement. It's recorded somewhere and they have it. And so they have direct evidence of anything you do. And so I've always taught my kids, and I will tell you all this too, be careful about social media because it can get you in a world of trouble. And remember, anything that's on the internet is there forever. It never comes out. And so you could be someplace at the age of 50 and your kids see you on social media doing something that you had long forgotten about. And you never know when law enforcement is looking. So you can be prosecuted for that. Or someone can say they did this. And so they go to social media, show them that. And remember this, even Snapchat, people can take a picture of Snapchat and guess what? That's there. That's direct evidence of guilt. So be careful about social media. Social media has sent many people to prison. Young people, what is put on social media becomes direct evidence, and it's right there for the world to see. You can be 18 facing a federal charge because remember, the internet is interstate commerce. So that means it affects more than one state because it's going worldwide. And so that can be a federal offense. And so that's something that you don't want. You don't want that on your criminal history, and you don't want to deal with the consequences of that. So right now, let's put a pin in everything I said and what I need you to know. What I need for you all to really get into your psyche based upon some things I was told. I don't care that you live in a rural community, Carroll County. I don't care if you live in a community where African Americans only constitute 19% of the population. I don't even care if your community is one where every kid doesn't try to advance themselves beyond high school. That is not you. You are uniquely designed, uniquely made for a purpose in life. And your purpose is to do something positive. And so everything I'm saying to you is for the purpose of you getting to whatever that purpose is you have in life. And it's not to be involved in the criminal justice system. Never allow your current conditions to dampen your dreams. Your future is as bright as you believe it is. And that's true. And I can say that's true for me. Regardless of what you all may think about what kind of background I came from, I was similar to most of you all. First generation college student, first person I ever knew to go to law school. No one in my family was a lawyer. So your dreams can come true if you dream them and don't allow people to be in your circle who are not in your corner. The beauty of your county is that it is waiting for people like you to step up and step into greatness. You all were born into a role, but the person you become is up to each of you. Don't allow circumstances or other people's opinion to define who you are. Diversity in every community matters. And so your dreams should be dreams that encompass everyone, of every denomination, of every racial, of every background, anything you can think of, your world should encompass. You all are going into a different world than what we've experienced before, people my age and older. Your world will be more diverse than anything we've ever seen in this country and in the world. And so it's important for you to embrace diversity, embrace inclusion, because that's going to be important for your success. So diversity matters. And what I want you all to remember, that you're in a major educational community. There's no reason why any of you all shouldn't stop your educational journey from high school, period, point blank. You have colleges in your arena, you have technical schools, and the military is always an option. So don't allow those in your circle who are not in your corner to stop your dreams. This brings me to my second point. Be intentional about your life. Maybe sometimes we say things to you all in ways you don't hear, but what I need you to know is that you need to be intentional about your life, because I bet every adult on this call can remember specific days in their teens like it was yesterday. That's how quick life goes by. And so you have to be intentional. So now it's the time for you to start planning your future. Don't wait. Don't say it doesn't matter. Don't leave it to chance. People who don't plan to fail. If you have no plans, you will allow your so-called friends, drugs, criminal activity, and disrespect for yourself and your family to become center stage in your life. See, having plans keep you from engaging in behaviors that get you caught up in the criminal justice system. Think about what I told you, the real life event of the two tales, the football player and the kid who was struggling. The one who was struggling had no plans. And as a result, he got caught up in life. He got caught up in criminal activity, and he brought somebody else along. But I want to tell you all something about the young man who ended up doing 5 years. He finished high school while he was incarcerated. He also went to college. And after he got out, about 2 or 3 years, he called me to let me know he was working a job where he wore suit and tie every day because he was able to be resentenced and had first offender status. And he was doing well in life. He did not allow that circumstance to define him. So what I want you all to remember is that there are statistics about what happens when people don't do what they need to do. And by this being the NAACP, I thought I would mention the statistics that are very stark. And these statistics are in place as well for adults. 38% of the inmates in the Federal Bureau of Prisons are African American. African Americans only constitute 19% of the population in the United States. That's terrible. Only 13% of the population is comprised of African Americans. African Americans are incarcerated in state prisons at a rate of 5 times more than white Americans. What does that say to any child who's on this call who's African American? You don't have time to be caught up in behavior that is not conducive to doing something positive. Your colleagues are bypassing you at a rapid rate. And the only way that will change is if you have a plan and you're intentional about your future. There in 12 states, one of which is Georgia, more than half of the prison population is African American. Let me repeat that again. In 12 states, one of which is Georgia, more than half of the prison population is constituted by African Americans. Do you understand why I say each of you must be intentional about your future? Let me put a pin here because I see some of our sisters and brothers of another hue. Guess what? Among young white females and males, the numbers are growing. And I didn't get those statistics to share with you all, but the numbers are growing from the last 10 or 20 years because of the drug pandemic. That's what's getting young white people in prison more than anything else, drugs. Don't do it. Don't go there. It's not worth your life. It will take you down a path that you don't even recognize who you are. So I hope you all understand why I say be intentional about your future. Being intentional about your future will prevent you from starting families before you start your career. Being intentional about your future means you will have a plan, and everything you do is about ensuring that your plan becomes a reality. When you do this, you ask, when do you do this? You ask right now. Envision what you want your future career to be, what you want your future accomplishments to be. See, if you don't have something in mind right now when I said that, every one of you all should already know what you think you want to do. Now, it may change, and that's okay, but you should have an idea of what you want to do, where you want to go, and what you want to be. And I'm saying that to you the same way I said it to my children, because each of you all are a part of me. I don't care what color you are, where you come from, what you want to do, who your parents are. Each of you are a part of me. When you fail, I fail. And so you have to right now in your minds know where you want to go, even if you don't know what you want to do. I want to do something in the science field. I want to do, because if you have a plan, there's certain things you're not going to allow yourself to be affiliated with because you've got somewhere to go. And you can't get there with people in the wrong circle and not in your corner. So what I want you all to remember, if you're going to be intentional and you envision your future, you start by being intentional by getting involved now. Just don't go to school, be in school. You hear what I'm saying? Don't just show up and say present, be in school, become engaged in activities in school and in your community. And no knock on sports, but I'm talking about something outside of sports. Sports are important. They teach you important lessons and they're fun. But I want each of you, even if you're a sports student, I want you to get involved in your school, in clubs, art club, student government, the writing club, environmental club, robotics, theater, book, service, band, chorus. Expand yourselves. That's how you meet people who are different from you, who think different from you. You cannot go into the 21st century and not have a broad mind. And the way you do that is by engaging in activities that are outside of your comfort zone. You all need to learn how to be comfortable being uncomfortable. That's how you grow. When you become too comfortable, check it out. You're probably not growing. The only way you continue to grow is to push yourself beyond your comfort zone. So I want you all to get involved. That will help expand the possibilities for your future, which may include a technical degree, which can lead to lucrative careers, or it may include a college degree that may cause you to go on to graduate studies, or it may cause a professional degree that helps you in the military, or you may go into the military and represent us in the highest heights of government. But whatever you do, you've got to have a plan to move beyond where you are into where you want to be. And don't give me the excuse that you don't see it. Because if you can think it, you can be it. I never saw a lawyer in my life in a courtroom. On TV I did, but not in my life. But I thought to myself, if I could think this possibility, then I can be it. And I never doubted the fact that I could be that. And so that's what I need for you all to walk away with tonight. You need to have the confidence that anything you decide you want to be, you can be. And guess what? I don't care who tells you otherwise. If a teacher tells you what your limitations are, they don't know what they're talking about. If a parent, and I'm willing to say this, I challenge parents too. If a parent ever tells you what your limitations are, you can't listen to them because you know what you're capable of and no one else can dictate your future but you. So whatever dream you have, I need for you to dream it. But one other thing I need for you to get involved with, I need you to get involved with your teachers. Listen, there ought to be one teacher within your career that you find that empowers you, that makes you, that pushes you. It may be that teacher that you call yourself not liking, but they see something in you and they're pushing you beyond your comfort zone. Let that teacher become your mentor. You will be surprised what will happen if you do that. During my acceptance speech after Governor Kemp swore me in, I gave homage to one of my teachers in high school. She gave me the belief that I could do anything I set my mind to. And that little spark she gave me the confidence to walk in places where no one looked like me. It gave me the confidence to go in environments where kids had prep school and I came from public school. And so I want you all to remember that and get comfortable being uncomfortable. This is one of the quotes that I made for myself. If you don't grow, you won't expand. And the reverse is true as well. If you don't expand, you won't grow. Expand where you are. It will benefit you as you intentionally pursue your future goals, and it would also help you avoid those who are not in your corner. Because guess what? If you've got somewhere to go, folks who don't have a plan, they won't be attracted to you anymore. You won't have time for them because they don't have a plan. So that's why I need you to have a plan. That's part of keeping people who are not in your corner from your circle. And finally, the last thing I want to remind you all, you were born to win. You were born to fly and excel. And don't allow apathy and half-hearted effort of other people or yourself to ever cause you to not do that. It's hard for me to do what I normally do when I'm on a Zoom call because I'm really engaging, but I'm going to try to do this here. Okay, the reason why you've got to have a plan, the reason why you have to be careful that everybody in this circle is in your corner and get those people who are not out of that place, the reason why you were born to win, and the reason why you must know this is because you can never wear a jumpsuit, a jail jumpsuit with the name of the correctional institution on the back of it, because you've done acts that put you in a jail cell where people are treating you as if you're cattle, as if you don't matter, as if your life is less than. I would say to people when they came before me, you're in shackles. Do you know people died so that you wouldn't have to wear shackles on your arms and on your feet, and you would engage in activities to allow people to put you back in what was once upon a time. Don't engage in conduct that will cause you to wear a jumpsuit. Or even worse yet, what I'm holding up now is a body bag. This body bag is about 7 feet long. And if one of you all ever go into this body bag, all the room that's remaining will be all the potential that you left behind because you engaged in conduct that caused you to leave this world sooner than you should have. You all already know there's enough going on in our world where people are leaving before they should have through no fault of their own. So why would you ever put yourself in a position where you're making your own body bag? And the only way people know you is through this biohazard tag that has your name on it. And if they don't know your name, it'll be unnamed because they don't know you until somebody comes and identify your body in the morgue. The coroner in my city is my friend. And so he gave me this body bag to have so that I can continue to show kids what they don't want to become. But then what I want you all to do, I want you to get a diploma. Number one, you have got to finish high school. That's not even up for debate. That's a no-brainer, right? You got to go all the way. And then beyond high school, you have to get further education. You have to always be educated and always be growing, because remember, learning is a part of growing. Whenever you stop learning, you have officially started dying. And there's a lot of people walking around, they're the walking dead because they're not growing, they're not expanding, they're not learning, and they've stopped their education. And educating is beyond a school or a building. It's what you do to continually move your mind beyond what it is. The elephant in the room is that some of you may not really understand who you are right now, how you navigate in this crazy world that we adults are leaving you. You may even at sometimes wonder, is it worth it? Well, let me tell you, it is worth it. And it will be worth it because you all are our future leaders. Remember, it all begins and ends in your mind. What you give power to has power over you if you allow it. I bet on you. 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 I bet on all of you because I have no other option. I'm depending on you all to make this better because what we have left you right now at the state of our country and the state of our world, I apologize to you. But I speak to young people every time people ask me because I am depending on you to make it better than what it is, to make it better than what it was. And the only way you can do that is with a plan. You have to make our institutions better than they are. You have to make our brotherhood better than it is. Now I need each of you to step up and step out in everything you do. We're losing ground as a community. Our numbers are growing in the criminal justice system, all of our numbers, and we're becoming more likely to be unemployed and satisfied with not working. That's problematic. Our country can't continue at that rate. I need for you all to graduate. Whatever you start, finish. And I'm going to tell you this last thing and I'm going to be done. And I told my kids this, and I'm telling you all this because these are lessons that they've incorporated in their life. Whatever you start, don't ever stop until you finish. If you start giving up on anything, you'll find it easy to give up on the next thing. When you go to whatever school you're going to, whatever you do next in life, don't give up. When you start a class, don't withdraw. Don't say, I'm done. Because the moment you start giving up on the one thing, you'll give up on the next thing and the next thing. And every time it'll be easier for you to give up. If it comes to you, you have what it takes to see it through. So see it all the way through. Without education, there's no hope for our people. And without hope, our future is lost. That was said by the very first attorney of the NAACP, Charles Hamilton Houston. And I'll repeat that again. Without education, there is no hope for our people. And without hope, our future is lost. Get an education. Leave the madness that has no future behind. Choose you. If you will do that, we will have a future as a community and as a nation. Each of you have a future because you were born to win. Thank you. And I appreciate this time I had with you.
Thank you, Supreme Court Justice Colvin. Those are some powerful words, very powerful words. We may have time for one or two questions real quick because we realize people have other appointments that they've got to get to. Anything in the chat that needs to be brought out? Okay, again, everyone is appreciative of what you've done. We've had people get a better understanding of what the NAACP is about. And we've even had an offer, if there are any young people that would like to become members of the NAACP, there's a sponsor on the Roush Foundation was on this call and they've volunteered to pay for your membership. So if you are interested, a young person interested in joining the NAACP or becoming more involved, you can just call our phone number at 770-877-2991, and they'll take care of that membership for you. And again, those words of wisdom will go a long, long way. So please adhere to what you've heard tonight. And again, remember who you heard it from. You heard it from a Supreme Court justice. I see some high school principals on the call tonight. If you'd like to identify yourself, you may do so at this time. I don't know if there's any middle school principals, you can do the same. Go ahead, Mr. Lau.
Mr. Stocks, I'd just like to say thank you to everyone for putting this on. This has been a great event for our students and definitely a lot of words of wisdom and Justice Colvin, thank you very much as well.
Okay, any other high school, middle school principals? See Miss April Bird Jones is there. Ms. Jones, do you have any comments?
Yes, Mr. Stocks has my email address, but if you all want it now, it is Colvin, Colvin, V as in victory, at GA, which stands for Georgia, Supreme, so GASupreme.us. And if you all want me to speak any of the teachers or schools, if you all want me to do anything for you, just let me know. I am huge about being involved with our students. I think my job is to be a public servant, and I truly believe in serving the public. That's the only reason why I got into this line of work. Never envisioned being a judge. So anything I can do for you all, please let me know. And I've got another event I'm headed off to, but it was a pleasure. So thank you all so much. And anybody who has questions, if you will email me, I promise you I will respond. Thank you so much.
And thank you, Justice Colvin, for your time and your wise words of wisdom. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Okay, at this point in time, Carroll Boyd had a quick announcement about environmental justice. Carroll, if you're prepared, I sent an email out earlier that had that the summary of what she wanted to say, but if Carroll, if you have any words you want to share quickly.
Yeah, I would like to emphasize that, especially for the younger people who are here, I think that it would be great of interest to them to think about the environmental impact on minority and marginalized communities. And that's what environmental justice is about. And I have several resources, including some that are directly related to the NAACP, that I would be happy to share with them. And I would also like to talk to them if they know of any particular issues in Carroll County that we can begin to address. I know coal ash has been a problem, and in Georgia we have had pipeline issues as well. I didn't put in the notes that there's also the Georgia Interfaith Power and Light group, which includes environmental justice and the spiritual aspects of that. And anyway, I would really appreciate young people or old people like me who would like to be involved in addressing some of these issues with me. So thank you very much.
Okay, and so Carroll Boyd is she's chairperson. She's an NAACP member, and she's chairperson for our Environmental Justice Committee.
By default.
Okay, any other questions? Any other concerns? Anything else for the good of the order? If not, we'll go ahead and bring this meeting to an end. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. Hopefully you've learned something you can walk away with. And we will meet again. We meet the third Monday of each month. And our next meeting will come up the third Monday of October. So thanks again for your time. Thanks again for your patience. Hope you learned something. And till we meet again, this meeting will now come to an end. Thank you so very much. Good night, everyone.